Welcome to Dear Alice, a lifestyle approach to interior design.
Hi, everyone. Hey. Welcome to Dear Alice.
How's it going?
It's going good.
Good.
Yeah. My favorite time of the week.
Yeah, me too.
Really so. Such a joy.
Yeah.
Such a joy.
Sit with you people.
It's like a reset. I don't feel like I'm going a million miles an hour here.
Yeah.
So it's awesome.
And we get to hang out with all of you.
I know.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in and listening. We get the occasional DM in our own personal inboxes. This is probably no surprise to any of you that Suzanne or myself or Corey don't control the Instagram for Alice Lane Home. And so we don't see all those DMs, but occasionally people DM our personal Instagrams and we get to hear from you and it's so fun.
Yeah. It's such a treat.
Yeah. We get to hear
we're usually screenshotting and sending them to each other and we're like, look, what we do is good. Yeah. It matters.
People like it. Yeah. It's so great. So thanks for listening to us. It's so fun. And we love doing the podcast collectively. The three of us really love it. And we love that you tune in and listen to it. Today we have kind of a fun one. It feels almost a little bit emotional for me. I am about to have my youngest child go to college. And so we're like standing on the brink of this big moment, this big life change. And I think that we'll experience it, but then I think we'll experience it differently, like in the weeks to come afterward in being empty nesters. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we are going to do things I wish I knew when I was 20.
Yep.
And we'll get into that. But first, I want to know from you guys, what we're going to say.
What you're looking forward to.
Yes. What are you looking forward to? What are you anticipating?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I do. Thank you, Corey.
This time of year, like right after my birthday, I always just look forward to football season.
Oh,
so I'm so excited.
Yay. Yeah. Remind me who your team is again.
Dallas Cowboys. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's so American of you. I love that you love the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Do you know who else loves Dallas? Alice Lane. Suzanne Hall and I love Dallas.
Love Dallas.
We love a Dallas project. We just wrapped 2 projects and shot them both. And we were like, oh no, we want to do another one. And sure enough, that week we got another phone call and I think we're going to do another Dallas dream home.
Is it in the same neighborhood
so
as
excited.
the others?
It's a different dreamy bear neighborhood and we're excited to get to know another area of Dallas.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yes, it's going to be really fun. So I hope we get that project. Okay. And Dallas, if you hear us, we want to do your house. We love Dallas so much. Mm-hmm. We need to spend more time there and creating more dreams for you guys.
It's really, really
Nobody
fun.
does it like Dallas, and including the football.
So, yeah.
We're Dallas loving people, Texas loving people.
I love that.
Good times. Sue, what are you anticipating and looking forward to?
What am I anticipating? I'm in the middle. I feel like the remodel has legs now, and I'm starting to see the fruits of it. And so I'm just so looking forward to. My hope was that. When I started this, I'm like, if I could have this done, at least the boys' bathroom done by the time school starts, that'd be such a win. So I'm trying to get as much done. It won't be completely done, but at least we'll have cabinetry. We'll have working plumbing. They can take showers in there and that'll feel like a big win. So I'm excited for that. And I think just in general, the fall.
Yes.
I know we're in the middle of August, but I'm starting to get the school feels when I'm we are 2 weeks away from the kids going back to school. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just anticipating that. We have this peach orchard next to Justin, our house. Mm-hmm. They just opened, the peaches are for sale, which peaches start to feel like fall. Mm-hmm. The apples start to feel like fall. And fall, I do love spring, but I love fall.
Yeah.
I love me fall
a warm day and just a brisk night that's my jam.
It's you get to wear another layer, which I love wearing layers.
Yeah.
Me too.
And I just love fall. I was married in the fall, fell in love in the fall.
When's your anniversary?
September 16th.
Oh, okay. Mine's October 15th. So it's for the same reason.
Oh, cute.
Wedding. I love that time of year. That was beautiful. So I'm excited for
Yes. My mother-in-law would call them the shoulder seasons.
Oh, well, why?
Yes.
Indeed.
Hold on. Why? I guess I don't know.
Well, because she's an East Coaster, but she's just very formal in her language. And she calls spring and fall the shoulder seasons.
Oh, so it's on either side of summer? Or?
I don't know.
You have to put something over your shoulders.
Oh, maybe. I was thinking, I don't know, but sometimes when I think of spring and fall, because I do think they're so idyllic. And that's when we go to market and it's you don't need a jacket or a coat and the weather's just perfect. And I always think market falls in the perfect place, but then everybody's going on vacations. We're like, no, we got to go to market. We can't come because we got to go to market, but also it's like this perfect little bubble of a moment. And so I always get so nervous that it's going to go too fast because it's so perfect that it's like a birthday candle being blown out. You know what I mean? And you're just like, wait, it's the moment. And it's just so twinkly and so special. And so we're going to those seasons, right? Where we just love the fall crispy leaves and the perfect weather. And then the gathering and the people and all the holidays and the home decor and the candles and smells. And I feel like the scents are just heightened more.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The food is good. And
And I do love a jacket and a boot. So I'm excited. Yeah.
Look over my summer shoes, 100%.
I am too. I've been on the hunt for a boot because I do feel like the profiles of the boots have really changed, and I'm just struggling with what to do.
You're gonna get yourself some Docs?
No. Oh no, like a tall fall boot.
I'm just kidding. Oh, that was a joke.
Oh, I was like,
funny.
I cannot picture you.
Oh my gosh, the girls have those things. I buy them for my daughters, but I had Docs in college and high school, and so I'm like, I can't again. Yeah, it's just so clodhoppery for my profile, but. Yeah. Anyway, I'm on the hunt for the perfect fall boot.
Okay. Oh,
yes.
That.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to October market. I like fall market might be my favorite.
I think what we decided and what we discovered, those of you that are designers listening to this, give us an amen out there if you agree. But what we discovered in spring market, and we've been going for how many years now? Like 15 years. We've discovered that fall market is the market to go to. And that's a lot of designers will only go once a year and everybody goes to fall. And so we went to spring, of course, we go to both, but this time when we were spring last time, it felt a tiny bit ghost towny.
A little anemic.
Yeah. Something was just a little off step. And I was like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, well, we're bringing it all out for fall market, or we didn't style this market, the showroom, because we'll style for fall. Or I don't know. I was just
staffing problems.
Everybody is just like gearing up for fall. So we know fall's going to be gorgeous. All the new collections launch. Yeah. People are going to be in new buildings. They have new locations. They've got new collections. Like everybody is putting on the peacock for fall market. So I'm like, we got to go to fall market. And if we decide to only go to one market ever in the future, go to fall. Don't do spring. Yeah.
I had a rep the other day. I asked them, I'm like, what's your favorite market? And they're like, spring. And I was like,
Probably because it's easier. Because less people go. less cats to wrangle.
Lazy. Anyway. Yeah. I'm excited. Yeah. So what about you, Jess? What are you looking forward to?
Oh, this is going to sound so not like Jess, but in my mind, I think I'm looking forward to developing a really great routine.
Great answer.
I have this, this daughter that's leaving home that I just, you feel like your youngest is never going to leave home. And people are like, oh, you're going to love being empty nesters. I'm like, oh, please don't say the word empty nester to me. That's like what old people do. And Adam and I are not going to be those people, but legitimately we are. And I just cannot believe that it's upon me. And so I'm like, I'm going to have to throw myself into something to keep myself from wanting to throw myself off of a tall building.
Off of something. Yeah.
Yes, because I'm just like, I just feel it so emotional. And this is a kid that isn't emotional about it at all and isn't super cuddly. So she's going to be completely fine and she won't call me either. So I just need to be like, I'm going to throw myself into something in a big way and just like get in a really good disciplined routine. And I'm excited about it. So
it's awesome.
I'm saying it here, so I'll have to hold myself to it.
Yeah.
My diabetes is going to thank me back. Yeah.
We're all going to be stronger.
Yeah. Corey and I were talking about how like when you have more muscle on your body, how you don't have to take as much insulin if you're a diabetic. And I think you just metabolize better and there's a whole lot of things. So I'm like, I've got to lift weights. Speaking of diabetes, my goodness, right on cue. There it is, you guys. High blood sugar.
What are you at?
I'm 252 for those of you that know about high blood sugar. We're going to take a shot. But anyway, I'm looking forward to a routine. It's going to be really good.
That's a click of a shot.
Yeah, that is a click of a shot. Okay. So Suzanne saw this great Instagram post. Sue, take it away.
Yeah. So it was from Lewis Howes, and it came up on my Instagram, and I forwarded it on to Jess. I was like, Corey, thinking I'm like this. I think this is something. And it was advice from 40-year-old me to 20-year-old me. 5 things I wish I knew when I was 20. And I was like, that is really good. I don't know if it's just because this is the year I turned 40. Not that I know everything, but man, do I wish like I could talk to that girl.
Yeah.
You know, and just like, just tell her a couple things, just like reassure her. And I'm like, I bet you anything just that, and I'm sure Jess, obviously you have Jane, that I'm sure you're trying to embark all this knowledge on it to like probably deaf ears because they're 20 and they're not listening to anything you say because they know everything. So,
so we're going to tell all of our listeners because we know you guys listen to us.
Thanks for being here, guys.
Yeah. And I think that it's a really good conversation just to even like talk with your significant other, share those things with the people in your life. And honestly, even if they're not children of yours, I feel like they'll listen more to you, like a favorite nephew or a godson or a goddaughter, or just like, you know, a teenager in your orbit that, you know, that listen to you. I feel like those things mean so much when your parent doesn't tell you, but somebody that, you know, just like loves you because they don't have to love you. And you can impart your wisdom to them on this topic.
Do you know what I was thinking about this earlier today as I was creating the outline for it? And I was like, you know, this is a lot of this stuff is, I'm trying to think of it as like, what would my 60-year-old self tell myself right now? Right. And so I'm like, really okay, good. I need to like absorb this as that, like still, you know, use this as useful information because it's not just for 20-year-olds, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's when I was typing everything up, I was like, man, I really just need to apply a lot of this stuff to my own life right now.
Yeah.
You know? So,
yeah.
And you're doing it. You're, you know, getting a routine going. I think that was one of this guy's, one of Lewis's.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it is great. Yeah. The first one that, go ahead, Sue.
No, I was just going to say, in preparation, I was just talking to my mom and I talked to my sister separately and I asked them this question, and I love hearing other people's answers because people, you say the question and then there's silence because you really have to like step back and think. I think we probably all had that same moment where it'd be like, what would I tell myself? What was I doing in that moment? It's a really great conversation to have. You said that, Jess, so I'm repeating what you said, but ask the people around you.
Yeah. That's really good. It's sweet, right?
It is.
I love it. My first thought was this one's not an emotional one, so that's a good one.
Start there.
Yeah. I was thinking a lot about the podcast we recorded with the real estate investor, John Woodley, and how he said he wished he would have gotten started earlier in investing. His only regret was that he didn't start when he was 18.
Yeah. And he bought, was it 22 or something?
Yeah.
23.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, what's interesting about that, I think the reason why it's been more poignant to me than normal is that my 22-year-old daughter was saying at Sunday dinner the other day, my biggest fear in life, Kate said, is that I won't be able to own my own home. And I was like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
Why would you think that? Right. But I think because of the individuals that she hangs around with haven't had any success in their life or had anybody model that success for them.
Yeah.
And I think we all know, those of us that are older, giving advice to younger people, you are the average of the 5 people that you hang around with all the time. Also, I do think that the world that we're living in right now, like we've never seen real estate so high. And so in order to afford it and get into the game, you really have to be making a great deal of money. But Kate was like, I don't know, maybe the only way I could do it would be if my significant other and I went in together and bought a home. And I was like, well, that's probably how most people do it. But yeah, I mean, that'd be cool as a single female to want to work and hustle and own your own home. But yeah, for sure. With a partner, I'm sure you could do it. But I also felt like I've really got to instill in her the fact that she absolutely can. And I was going through my algorithm on Instagram, served me up a quote. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got to share this with Kate Bennett because it's such a good one. And let me find it because it just sort of resonates along these lines. And it was like something along, I'll just find it. Here it is. It said, if you keep focusing your attention on your dream life, you'll attract everything you need to exist in that new frequency. If you keep focusing your attention on your dream life, you'll attract everything you need to exist in that new frequency. And I'd say, Kate Bennett, you have to believe, listen to me right now, you have to believe that you're going to afford your own home. Yeah. Because if and when you do believe that, you're going to attract everything you need to be in that frequency, to be able to do it. But you have to believe it first, you know? And I mean, of course, we all know that's like manifesting and whatnot, but for like a 20-something-year-old kid who just doesn't believe it, then her frequency is going to be, I can't afford it. I'll never be able to afford it. She'll continue to believe that and she'll never afford it, right? Mm-hmm. So anyway, I think kind of connecting those two thoughts, because it's been personal with, my own daughters and being like, what else do you not believe about yourself? Because we got to get that out of your head right now. But getting started earlier, right? Yeah. Like John even had said, I think the better gift, I mean, tell me if you guys remember this differently. He's like, I think the better gift than sending your kid to college would be to help them with a down payment on their home, right? Because that home's going to continue to appreciate. There's so many life lessons in that. There's so many ways you're hooking them up beyond that. And I was like, whoa, that just changed my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's a conversations that Adam and I continue to have with Kate's belief system and her being 22 and me being like, oh crap, we're 4 years behind the game. We've got to figure out, how to help this girl in her thoughts, right? For sure. But also just continue to align that she can do it.
Yeah.
All of our kids can own their own homes.
Yeah.
And I feel like the, real estate, obviously the cost has changed and the game has changed a little bit, but everything else
have salaries.
Yeah. Like everything else will change with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when I was 21, I bought a condo and it was $150,000 and I wanted a home that was like $260,000. Yeah. Couldn't afford it. I was like, I'll never be able to afford that. I'd kill someone to buy a home for $260,000. You know what I mean? Like, so
if we'd only gotten started when we were younger, right?
So true.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, how about you guys? What do you wish that you knew when you were 20? What advice would your 40-year-old self tell your 20-year-old self?
Mm-hmm. I think along that same line, like believe that you can do anything, right?
Yeah.
Like I think now more than ever, I think we all probably grew up in a generation where, the advice given to us was to do something that was like, be a doctor, be a lawyer, go into business management, because that'll serve you well through any industry you go into. Be this. And I think so many people, I don't know how many times people, like when they find out what we do for a living, that we are in interior design, they're like, oh, I wish I did that. Or, oh, I wish I did this. I went ahead and I went into elementary education, which is awesome. It's absolutely needed. And I know that like those that are there love it. But I would say, and this is hard because I did get to do what I thought, not for the reasons that I'm doing it now. It's different, that kind of migrates into, I had to, and then it like grew into this like great passion. But I would just say to my 20-year-old self, like, I don't think she knew what she was getting into, but she did it because she loved it. And so I'm so glad I was a little bit blind to that, to the future, because it became so much greater than I could have anticipated.
Yeah.
So I would say to like any 20-year-old listening that's going to school, Kate Bennett right now, Jane Bennett, like find something that you're passionate about. Yeah. I think if your passion fuels everything,
for sure,
and if you're good at something, you're passionate at it, you can make a living at it. I'm like 100% in my mind, like without a doubt, I believe that to be true. And so if you like Corey Place, you love music, you were in a rock band with your best friend since you were in junior high, and like you kept doing it and it wasn't easy, but you did it.
You know what's crazy? I was thinking about that as you were saying this. I got married when I was 18, and then at 25, I got divorced. And from 18 to 25, I just like worked. I was going to school and I was working because I was doing the things I was quote unquote supposed to be doing. And then at 25, kind of as the time I was getting a divorce, I was studying to take the LSAT and go to law school. And it got to a point where, like my best friend, his brother passed away suddenly. And we were both like, man, should we continue like doing what we like need to be doing, quote unquote, need to be doing? Or should we just like start a band and just actually go for it this time? And we did. And I mean, did we like reach where we wanted to go? No, but we got somewhere with it and we're both super proud. And I learned so much that boils and carries over into like the other parts of my life. I wouldn't give it away for anything. I wouldn't give it away for a law degree. That's for sure. Yeah. You know what I mean? So there's a lot. Yeah, I think that's true.
I think if a failure, or like a sudden life change, like a friend dying, it does bring life into focus really clearly for a moment and make you question things. And as much as we hate failures and hard things like that, it is a gift in some way, right? That happened to really say, no, that's not what I want to do with the time that I do have on earth.
It's a catapult.
You know what I mean? I want to do the passion. This kind of goes along with that. This is a little bit of a tangent, but Adam and I were watching, it's a documentary. It was on Stephen Curry. Yeah.
Just watch the documentaries now.
I know. How about that?
That's great.
Adam was watching it on sports and I came in and I was like, I don't know what it is, but I love seeing people become excellent at something, the underdog becoming something. And you're like,
that's a great documentary, by the way.
Amazing.
If you haven't seen it, y'all should watch it.
So good. And then that forayed into a show called Quarterback. And we're watching that right now. And of course, these guys be in their greatness. It's 3 quarterbacks and they're kind of following their journey for a year. And anyway, so I got on a Marco Polo and I was saying to my brother, I have 4 brothers and a dad. And I was like, okay, you guys, because my brother Jake, we just know he loves the GOAT, Tom Brady. And I was like, who do you think is a better quarterback, Tom Brady or
Patrick Mahomes?
Patrick Mahomes. And the discussion has been going on all week and it's been super fun. And Jake actually said something that was really interesting. He said, I will tell you right now, Tom Brady is not the fastest. He is not the strongest. He just has a champion's mindset. And I think to the point of pursue your dreams, right?
Yeah.
Drive beats talent.
Yep.
It's a mindset, you guys.
Yep.
It really is. And he was like, he works his tail off, but he has this belief. He said, Patrick Mahomes also has a winner's mindset, right? But he also is incredibly talented. He's gifted. He's fast. His just choreography wise is just incredible. And if he keeps his champion mindset and if his health will keep up with him, he'll continue to be great. But he said, Tom Brady has won 7 Super Bowls. He is the GOAT. He's got the champion mindset. And until somebody actually wins 8 Super Bowls over their lifetime, Tom Brady will continue to be the GOAT.
Yeah.
And it's a mindset thing. Isn't that great? I mean, he works his tail off, but he has a champion's mindset. And so I've been going into like, okay, let's talk about a champion's mindset, you guys. I want to know from you what that looks like.
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure that while I'm aligning Kate Bennett's thinking to make sure she knows she's going to own a piece of this earth, right? That it is a mindset and we have to have that. And I feel like one of the things that I continue to learn from Drew, our president at Alice Lane, is he'll say confidence is everything. It's your energy that you bring to anything that is what people want to know is that you absolutely believe in it, you know? And so I think if there's one thing that my 40-year-old self could tell my 22-year-old and my 18-year-old is like, you do it long enough and well enough to be really confident in it. And you show up in that greatness and you will have what you need, you know, to do a great job. But you have to believe in it, you know, you have to. Yep. And I think that your friend accidentally passing away, you know, made you guys get really real about what you wanted in life and that you went after it in a different way had he not passed away.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's an interesting thing for sure. But anyway, a couple tangents in there.
Oh, I love that.
You need to watch Man in the Arena after you're done with quarterbacks.
Ooh, that's one of my favorite quotes. Yeah.
And it's on Hulu and it's going through Tom Brady's, like, I think it's 10 of his seasons and it's insane because he's not an athletic guy. And here's the thing about Patrick Mahomes. Sorry that I'm excited about football. I said it already. So we're going there. Patrick, he's younger.
Yeah.
You know, Tom
25.
Brady, played till he's 45. Yeah. As you get older, quarterbacks, like, they need to get smarter because they're not as athletic. They're not the fastest guy on the field anymore. You know? So it'll be interesting to see in 10 years if he can take his game to the level that Tom Brady did. Yeah. That's where it was life-changing for him because he was like, look, I'm not going to eat anything that inflames like my body at all. He doesn't eat tomatoes because that's an inflammatory.
Yeah.
So
he doesn't he drink tons of water to keep more cushion in his joints, and like the health game is massive too, right?
And that's why he was able to play.
Which is why I'm gonna up my training game. Yes, I'm gonna become like Tom Brady, you guys.
Cushion those joints.
Okay, third on our list. You don't need to be right to know everything. Whose is that? That's good.
That was Adam's. As we were talking about this, and I think that's That's a really good one. And it's very introspective of Adam, because he as we were talking about it, he was like relating it to himself. And he was like, I always thought I just needed to know everything and just needed to just be right. And I think he said like he would have learned more. He started learning more when he realized he didn't need to be right all the time. Like he's like picking things up from everyone. So yeah, I mean, that's really, that stuck out to me. And I was like, that's great advice again, like for my 36-year-old self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think too that when we were discussing this, I was just like, be humble and ask questions. You don't know everything at 20. You have a lot to learn. I have a lot to learn at 40. And so now I'm getting curious at 40, and I need to ask more questions. And so for that 20-year-old that's trying to figure out what they want to do, if you don't want to go to college, you were terrible at school, but you love to do this one thing, start asking questions. Find the person in the magazine that you love their work and you go work for them.
Yeah.
Or you go do that thing, ask more questions. If you want to learn a trade, find the very best and ask and learn how to do it from the best, you know, so you can be really proud. And that'll be such an accomplishment to get to that point.
Totally.
But you have to be humble
in order to do that. And you have to be vulnerable. And you can't be too prideful. Vulnerable.
And I will say, if you look back I was telling Jess, Jake, you're on this podcast again. I'm going to say this. Jake, Jess's younger brother, who we actually had on a podcast not long ago about real estate. I remember when he would come and help Tom with projects around the attic, remodel stuff. I'm like, he's like, yeah, Jake came over and we took down all this brick and da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, that's random. That's cool. And then, but Jake is his trajectory and the things that he's done, you watch him and you interact with him and he asks questions and he finds out, he's super curious. And then he's just like, I think I'm going to be a developer. I'm going to build a house. I like building my house. Surely I like building other people's houses. I'm going to ask a few people. And it just has propelled him. Yeah. Because he was curious and he got curious and he was humble enough to say, I don't know everything. Teach me what you know. And let's build on that. And so I think just throughout his life, he'll continue to build that. And I'm excited to see what he does. Yeah. Because he is so curious and he's humble enough to not think that he has to know everything. Because I think that is a station that we all get into where we're just people have to know that I'm their end all be all and I know everything. But I think, I don't know, even in our industry, when clients ask us questions, I think it's okay to be that's a really good question. I'm going to ask somebody that knows more about that than I do. Yeah. And I'm going to get an answer back to you. And I find great respect in that answer because I'm thank you for getting curious. This is going to turn out better than I thought. Yeah. So
totally.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I love that one. Okay. We are at don't compare yourself to anyone.
Don't compare yourself to anyone.
That's a good thing to 100%. Tell a 20-year-old because I do feel no matter what, you're comparing yourself to everybody because you're trying to figure out what you're going to be and how does this world work? And you know what I mean?
What's your place in it?
Yeah. Who are you in relation to other people? And so, and I read a study I didn't really study. I was listening to experts talk on a different podcast and they were talking about how no matter what, the human mind is always making comparisons. Yeah. And for whatever reason, all of our brains naturally go to what's worse about each situation. We find the worst part in compare and contrast. We're always able to pick out the bad parts. Yeah. And so it's good to know that about our mind. It doesn't mean that we're pessimistic. It's the natural thing that our brain does. And it selects it. It selects all those things to sort of bring those to the forefront. And so I just think it's important to know that it's going to be doing that, but you can't continue to compare, obviously, your worst to people's best, right? Because that's the only face that they want to show. Yeah. But I think, I don't know, finding your own magic. Yeah. Yeah. And celebrating that is going to make you so much more happy than seeing why you're not just the person that you admire. You know what I mean? So as much as you can do that, I feel like everybody's insecure around you when you're 20. Everybody is. Nobody knows what they're doing. If they do, it's false confidence, but just really figuring out who you are and just being in your own magic, being authentic. Your friends will feel that and people want to be around you. It'll be likable. Yep. Yeah.
I asked my mom, who's 78, I asked her this question, right? What would your self now, I didn't say 40-year-old self because she's well past, what would your 78-year-old self tell your 20-year-old self? And she paused. she thought about it. And like, I was like, she probably has so many things she could say, right? Because she has so much experience. And she's like, I would tell my 20-year-old self to be yourself, to figure out who you are and to be that person. You'll waste a lot less time.
Yeah.
You know, if you can figure that out and like just own it and love it and nurture it and just become the best version of that self.
And tweak it.
Yeah. Like if there are things that you want to adjust, don't compare it, but do it for yourself.
Yeah. Be better
Because
than yourself used to be.
Yeah. And just like always just be growing, but you know who you are. She's like, that's what I would tell myself, which I'm like, that's really sound advice. It goes right along with this.
I like that a lot. That's good advice, Provo Grandma. The next one's be consistent with everyone. Treat everyone the same.
I love this one.
That was another Adam one.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And I thought that was another great point as well. I don't remember every sentiment that he had with it, but what stuck with me was, you know, whether you really love someone or you just need to be consistent with everyone.
Yeah.
And I think that's hard to do as, you know, a 20-year-old, because you're like finding your way. And so you connect to a group, and then the opposite of that group is
you're maybe shy around them, and it's hard to put that same energy toward other people. And yeah, totally.
I think doing that is almost like saying, like, if you just have that mindset, you'll get to who you're supposed to be quicker because everyone's on the same field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What's that philosopher, to thine own self be true?
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be consistent with everyone and treat everyone the same.
And
I like that.
And I love the idea of like, you know, not to be morbid, but like, do you guys ever think about your funeral sometimes? Or
all the time.
Okay, but just I hope that like
you think about it all the time. You think about it a lot.
Not a lot, but it comes to my mind often. Or, you know, just like,
do you think it's because Provo Grandma built the casket and put it in her house as a bookshelf? And so it's like top of mind.
My mom's so dope. That's another episode, repurposing ordinary things to be extraordinary.
We already gave her on the punchline. So yes.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Shoot.
And so is that why? Because there's a casket standing in your mom's family room?
Piano rolls.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But just like, I would hate for someone to feel less than somebody else.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? And
absolutely.
I just want everybody to know where I stand, you know, and when you're inconsistent, people don't know where they stand with you.
Yeah.
You know, but if someone could be like, I know, like if I'm introducing Jess Bennett, I know I'm just like, she's this and I know who you are.
Yeah.
You know, and I hope that everybody feels a certain way around me and that I'm giving consistency back.
Yes.
You know, I think that that's really beautiful to be consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah. With everybody.
Totally.
Just, you know,
you've been in that energy with a friend or with somebody in your circle before. And you're like, I don't know what just happened. I've said to Sue before, like, I feel like I have whiplash. I don't know.
That's so good.
I don't know what just happened.
Social whiplash.
In that conversation, you know, where people are like, I was like, I don't know, maybe they're using something or they're drinking or I have no idea what just happened. Right. Yeah. Or we have that friend that just socially shows up in a different way all the time, in a different mood, in a different costume. And, you know, and they're a lot of fun, but at the same time, when you're done, you're like, what just happened? I feel like I have whiplash. So yeah, I do think being consistent with everyone is just so great. It's great for friendships. It's great for people. It's great when you're dating. It's great when you are employed by somebody that everybody knows exactly who you are, what you stand for.
Yeah. And it's a very dependable attribute.
Yes.
Which I think in any of your relationships that will count, you know, that will only bless you. For
so
sure.
Good.
Okay.
So love good. That. Trust the process. Keep moving forward.
This was something we were speaking about when we were like creating this topic, and it was we were talking about like if you keep moving down a road, it may not be like the one that you necessarily feel like you need to be on, but the one that you need to be on will come. You know, like, but if you sit stagnant doing nothing, just like waiting for the opportunity to knock on your door, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So you got to get out, do something. You know, if you have nothing planned, like I'll go to school and see what happens. Like I went to school for communication. That's where I met Tom. And, you know, ultimately like I got a job at Alice Lane because of it. So it's school, the degree wasn't what got me the job. It was meeting someone on the way.
Yeah.
So
totally.
Yeah.
Opportunity begets opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like objects in motion tend to stay in motion. And so, while you're doing the thing, opportunities will arise, but nothing's going to happen when you stay at home.
Exactly.
My dad always says, God can't drive a parked car. You know, you've got to be in motion, right?
So true.
Yeah. You got to have gas in your tank and you got to be moving forward. And I think that's when things happen. I totally love that one. Trust the process, keep moving forward. That's great. And it's kind of, you can't see out of the windshield while you're doing it. So it's a little bit of a trust fall, but we all have experiences with this and we can all give the 20-year-old in our life this great advice. I think that's great. Okay, drive beats talent.
It's kind of, goes back to what we were talking about with
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, yeah.
GOAT.
Like, I've experienced this multiple times. I've seen it, and then I'm more of a driven person than I am a talented person. And that's what makes me different, is I just have a motor that just like keeps going and going. And I trust that more than any talent that I have. Yeah. Because I just
figure out anything.
Yeah. You can make it happen if you're just driven. You can outperform the people who are talented if you just work at it long enough,
Absolutely.
So that's finding whatever that passion is or what drives you, I guess, is the difficult thing. But once you find it,
my mom always says, if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person, because they're already in the motion of making stuff happen. And I think this drive beats talent all day long. Like, just give it to somebody that's going to drive it for you. It doesn't have to be the most talented person in the room. It's just the finisher.
Exactly.
Yeah. So be a finisher.
I think real fast on the drive beat talents, I was thinking about like 20-year-old stuff. And I know some 20-year-olds who are suffering from mental illness and anxiety. And I'm like, I bet that's really hard for a lot of, people where comparison is thrown at their face all the time and social media and all those things. And never before has like anxiety been like as verbally pronounced as it is right now.
Yeah,
everyone
for
has anxiety, or it's like being, manifested, whatever.
Yes. Everybody has ADD too. And some other form of
and like people,
depression.
I know that those things are real. Yeah. But I don't want it to hold people back, or like to hold some of my nieces and nephews back. I'm like, you are not that. Yeah. You are not that thing.
That's not your handicap.
No. Yeah. No. And one of the, ones that Lewis Howes mentioned in his, I think this is a good one to just like say real fast, was healing is a journey. A lot has happened in your life so far. Embrace self-compassion and forgiveness. Recognize and address any emotional wounds or traumas from the past. Seek support from professionals that can guide you through the healing process. It will allow you to release baggage, find inner peace, and create a solid foundation for your future. Love yourself now and appreciate how far you've come and everything that's coming your way. So I think if you feel like you don't have drive, 20-year-old self, like, let's figure out what is the baggage, and like, let's try and release that, because that is not you. Yeah. It'll contribute. I think those things, often you hear the stories, all these documentaries of how it drives, like those things can drive you forward, or it can put you back. Yeah. Choose the first. Yeah. Choose it to drive you forward.
Definitely. So. And there's no shame in getting professional help. I think therapy can do a really, really big job on a 20-year-old mind. Of just really creating space for them to heal, like they talk about, and also just helping to give you the support while you do that and know how to move forward confidently and give you the tools to do it. Yeah. So I know we've got, our 22-year-old who's been in therapy for years, and I couldn't believe the discussion we had this week with her. It was just on another level, just the amount of freedom in her mind and acceptance of who she is and where she's at on her journey. And I was like, this is absolutely paying back in spades for her. And it's a place where it's not like you're talking to mom and dad and getting mom and dad advice. It's like a real professional that has the tools to work with you on your mental illness and on whatever you've experienced in your life. And I just feel so grateful that we've been able to find the right person, for her to talk with and to get there. We were talking to an older gentleman, Sue and I, and I'd say he's probably in his late 60s or 70s. And he had great advice for us. It was during the winter, but he said he had kids in his 20s. And he said, you've really got to read this book. It's called The Defining Decade. And he said, every decision that people are supposed to know, it's like you have to make those decisions in your 20s. You have to figure out what you want to do for a living and go to college and pay for college, right? In your 20s, and you're expected to figure out maybe even who you're going to couple up with in life, if you're going to get married, if you want to start a family, where you want to live, where your first job's going to be, which is going to start you on your trajectory. Like all of these decisions have to be made in your 20s, which is the defining decade. And the pressure on these 20-year-olds is so massive, and it's hard. And they've got to have room to be able to screw up. Otherwise, by the time they get to their 40s, they're going to have a midlife crisis. So they need to have the room to be able to make the mistakes and figure things out so that they can obviously make whatever decisions, like, you and your friend, you had a death of a friend, right? And you change your trajectory and you did different things because of it. Like we need to be able to give our 20-year-olds space to not do the traditional route if it's not going to work to become the lawyer, or it's not going to work to become whatever version of their dad they thought they were going to be, So it's an interesting thing to kind of think and focus on. And I just really appreciate great therapists and other great adults in our kids' lives. And we can be that for 20-year-olds as well, as we work through this, but just giving them the space to be able to make their mistakes, come back from their mistakes, that whole thing.
But on the subject of therapy, like, aren't you glad that she's doing it now than like trying to like army crawl through until she's 40?
Gosh, it'd be so messy.
It'd just be messy. And I think relationships would be sacrificed. And
totally.
Especially
she gets to take all those skills about knowing how her own brain works, right? And she gets to understand how her thoughts work in her head. And she gets to take all that with her on the rest of her journey into her through her 20s and 30s. And she's going to have such a smoother road as a result of it. Yeah. And a more honest approach too, right? Yeah. Yeah. It's good.
Yep. She knows who she is.
Yeah.
It's really amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep yourself open to opportunities.
This, I don't remember who said it actually, but when I was thinking about it, things are going to come your way that just don't feel like oh, this isn't going to be worth my time. But that, like doing that thing may turn into the best show we ever played as a band. We got from playing this gig that was like so hard to play. It was horrible. We were playing for people that were passing by. One of the people that passed by was just like, wow, this band's like really good. And they were the person booking for some of the stuff at Sundance. And so we closed Sundance down one year, like opened up directly for Third Eye Blind. And it was like sold out. It was
bananas.
Yeah. It was like 1,500 people. And that person saw us playing, at some like, I don't even know what it was, but it was in Park City. And they're like, you guys are really good. Like you should open for Third Eye Blind. And I was like, that's why you just take like, my other bandmates were like, this is dumb. We shouldn't play it. I was like, you just play every show, no matter what, because you don't know what's going to come from it.
Yes, totally.
I love that.
Yeah, the connections that can come to saying yes for stuff is amazing. And I feel like especially in your 20s, there's no reason to say no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like that's the game in your 20s is just saying yes to stuff.
Yes.
Like figuring it out, going to the social events. You just never know whose shoulders you're going to rub with or people you're going to meet. And I know we all have phones and so we feel like we're being social, but like getting out and doing like the real social work is pretty awesome. Yeah.
Amen.
Spoken like a true 40-year-old. I know.
I know.
Yeah. That's great.
I bet we can all think about your own life of like, what opportunities did you say yes to?
Yeah.
Do you have like,
that got you to the spot that you're at right now. Yeah.
Yep. Totally.
It'd be fun to like watch a movie back of your life and just have like the twinkle sound.
Oh, that would be
go
so cringy.
when you're like, oh my gosh, that was it. Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of, or it's like Tarzan swinging from rope to rope, getting to the thing. You're like, oh, it's crazy what the ropes that you swung on to get where you were.
Yeah. But being a yes person will pay you back.
Definitely.
For sure.
Yeah. Or having like a best friend that's a yes person and taking you along with them. Yeah. And then you just owe them like massive thanks for being so open to opportunities.
Yeah, exactly.
So hopefully if you're not a yes person, you surround yourself with them and then you go with them.
Say yes next time.
Yes.
Be uncomfortable.
Yes. I like that.
Okay.
Last one is everyone is still trying to figure it all out.
Oh my gosh. Nobody has it figured out.
Yeah. Even at our age.
In our 40s and we're just like, we're still figuring it out.
Yeah, for sure. And you can be vulnerable with people because nobody's got it figured out.
No.
at all. Yeah. I was on a walk last night and I saw a woman in my neighborhood who's a grandma, and she was sitting with a mom that's probably in her 30s. And I was like, that's a very unlikely pairing. That's interesting. I wonder if the younger gal was just seeking some wisdom, and she knew that this gal was open to it. And as I walked by, I could tell that they were in a deep conversation. They were saying hi, but I wanted to be like, you guys go back to that safe space, because I can tell something really deep and important is happening here. And when I left that, I had that impression too, like how cool that she reached out to, to this wiser, older grandma and, was able to get in the deep end and get some wisdom. Yeah, kind of cool. But
my girlfriend and I were talking about that over Polo the other day of just like, I think it was after we saw the Barbie movie.
Yeah.
Do you remember? And like, if you've seen it, there's like this last scene when there's just like a lot of like maternal feelings of just trying to like go back to one's roots. And anyway, I just like was craving. I'm like, oh, I wish I could talk to my grandmas. They're not here anymore, but I'm like, that whole idea that tomorrow is not granted. Yeah. We don't know what could happen tomorrow. So talk to those. I think that have something to teach you and be kind of open and vulnerable to what they have to teach you. And
and really pay attention.
Absorb it.
Yeah. Write it down.
Completely absorb it.
Because when you do get into your 40s, your memory starts to go away and you won't remember it. I mean, hopefully you will, but like really, truly, like I wish I could, along with that, I wish I could remember some of the things my grandma's taught and just like really do it though. Yeah. Not like, okay, grandma, you're crazy. You know what I mean? Because they are so wise. And I think that they see the magic in you that maybe they had, or they see signs of your mother and all of that. And it's just so sweet.
It is. Or just like not even we say grandmas, but even just like those that are still alive, talk to them.
Yeah.
Like try and just like see what you can, I don't know, again, absorb, from what they have to give. Cause
ask them questions
and you'll get, those are, I think the biggest regrets that you will have is when someone's gone and you didn't ask them the questions.
Ask your grandma or grandpa how they got the courage to do something that was really hard, and take that courage with you.
And I bet we find a lot more commonalities, even though every generation we're just like, oh, they were so different from me.
Yeah.
I bet we have a lot more in common. We all have a lot more in common, and none of us to that point, we're all still trying to figure it out. So just start talking.
Yeah.
And listen.
Yeah. That's so good. That's so good. Well, you guys, that was a good one, Sue. I really like this. The things that I wish I knew when I was 20. You guys share your knowledge with those that are younger than you. And I hope that
talk to those that are older than you.
Yes, definitely. And share that. It's good. It's a good one. Well, if you guys have any questions or any ideas on podcast episodes you'd like us to answer, send those to Dear Alice at alicelanehome.com, and we will catch you next time. Hey, thanks for listening. If you like our show, please leave a 5-star rating.